Call the meeting to order. This is a special meeting of the City of Lawrence Stormwater Board, October the 4th at 4:30 p.m. Minutes of the special meeting of August the 2nd have been distributed. We have an approval.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Thank you.
Need to vote. Everybody needs to vote.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
yes.
okay.
And we vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Unfinished business, I show none. Under new business, we have Resolution 2021-03, declaratory resolution of the Board of Directors of the City of Lawrence Stormwater Management District, primarily approving the projects and bonds and all matters related thereto. Mr. Bosma, would you want to explain this?
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Stormwater Board of Managers. Brian Bosma with the law firm of Kroger, Gardis, and Arrigas, serving as your general counsel, also your bond counsel for this particular issue. I'm going to introduce a couple of people before we walk through a few steps here. First of all, I've got Doug Kowalski from my law firm, who has been working on a number of your issues. And if there's a conflict, you may see Doug. You've met Ted already. We're the team, so you may see Doug on occasion. Also, the municipal advisor, financial advisor to the city on this bond issuance is Bob Swintz of the firm of London and Whitty. So wanted you to get a look at Bob. He's a very knowledgeable guy. So when you see an email from him or something else, you can put a face with the name. So if you'll look at the timeline, the timetable that we circulated for the bond issuance, it will walk through this every step. We won't have to go through them all tonight, but I'll mention a couple of importance. You have your special meeting tonight at which you will adopt the declaratory resolution, presumably, after you debate it. That will begin the bond process under the Stormwater Management Statute. We already have submitted a notice to the public, because it had to be there today, to be in the IBJ and to be published 10 days before the public hearing, which will happen at your October 25th regular meeting, at which time you will take public testimony. And if you desire to do so and make a finding that it's of public utility and benefit, you will adopt a confirmatory resolution that confirms the findings in the declaratory resolution that you have before you. The second item that will occur at that meeting, if you choose to proceed, will be to adopt a rather lengthy bond resolution, which your consultants, the city controller, and city engineer will have reviewed and feel like it's in good shape for your consideration. That the Stormwater District does not itself issue bonds. The city does, but it requires action from this body for that to happen. Then there is a confirmation of that bond issue and approval of it by the Common Council. We've already been in contact with their attorney. They're aware of this. We aren't exactly certain what schedule they will assume for that. Your city engineer believes they'll probably assign it to a finance committee after it is introduced. So we will have it in their hands for consideration on November 1. And if they assign it to the finance committee, then they are likely to give final approval on December 6th. And then we will, in conjunction with London Whitty, work to close the bonds in that week with the target of December 9th. If for some reason the council decides it can do an approval in one meeting without committees, the closing will move up. And Mr. Swintz will be soliciting quotations from interested banks to purchase the bond issue, so it doesn't go through the lengthy public sale process. This is allowed by statute. And due to the relatively long term for the bond, for stormwater bond, which is 20 years is what is being proposed by Mr. Swintz, that's probably the best way to do it. He can solicit interest from several banks, and then with the controller's assistance, a successful entity will be selected. So if you'll turn that's the process. If you'll turn your attention to Resolution 2021-03, you will see that there are a number of recitals that it is of public benefit to enter into both the bond issue, but to construct the projects. The projects and a map of the projects prepared by the city engineer are attached as Exhibit A, along with a description of each project and an estimated cost. Along with that will be the costs of financing the bond issue, and you can see those summarized in Exhibit B, prepared by London Whitty, which is a sources and uses page. So in the end, you'll have nearly $11 million for the construction of projects that are proposed by the city engineer. He can walk you through all of those projects as well. So with that, I'm very happy to take your questions. You've had a chance to look at the declaratory resolution. I did not send you yet the confirmatory resolution, which is just as long, and then the bond resolution, which is very long because I didn't want to load your mailbox up. Those documents have been prepared and approved, and I'll circulate them during the course of this week, and then you'll have plenty of time to look through them, and we can answer any questions that you may have either prior to the October 25th hearing or at the October 25th hearing. Just while I'm here, so don't have to come up and disturb you again after you approve the declaratory resolution. I also shared with you an outline of the stormwater memorandum of agreement that actually Mr. Kowalski prepared at the request of the board last month, just so you would have at your fingertips exactly what the city of Indianapolis had agreed to, Marion County, actually, Stormwater District had agreed to do. It also lists the bond payments that the city of Lawrence is obligated to share in according to the statute through 2042, and also a description of the projects this is actually what was attached to the memorandum of agreement, and then a map of each project. If you'd like to, before you vote on the declaratory resolution, if you'd like to walk through the projects that are proposed to be approved here, I'm sure the city engineer would be more than pleased to walk you through those. He's very knowledgeable on them. So with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Can he do that now?
Yep.
Sure. Just so we know what all's going on everywhere.
You got the list. Oops.
I didn't print that out. Thank you, board members. So I just wanted to add to something that Brian said about the bonding. So the way we are structuring the bond is, every year we get, I said this to the council too, because I already updated the council about this bond and stuff. So every year we get so much revenue. The way we are structuring the bond is we are going to pay the bond, the principal and the interest for this bond. We'll be also paying the bond that the prorated debt share for Indianapolis, and we'll still be having roughly around $500,000 project every year to do repairs and O&Ms and stuff. So we are not completely spending all the money for the next 20 years on just the bond. Every year we'll have over $500,000 to do any unforeseen projects that come up, or repairs and O&Ms and all that.
That's on top of this, right?
Right, so that's how we are structuring it. So basically every year we get around $1.8 to $1.9 million from Indianapolis, through Indianapolis as our collection, and every year it goes up because the ordinance says that every year the rate goes up, just like Indianapolis, to match Indianapolis. So if we are getting 1.8 to 1.9, even after our debt payments and Indianapolis debt payments, we'll be still having at least $500,000 to do work, if not more, every year to do other work or anything that emergency that comes up. And we also starting to see next year with a good reserve in our stormwater funds too. So that's going to help too. So I just wanted to know how we are structuring this bond, so nobody is thinking that, we're gonna spend all this on projects and we won't be having anything to do repairs. That's not the case.
That was one of my questions. you know, how are we gonna take care of emergencies? So-
Yeah, of course, and that's how exactly this is planned out. So, like I said, we get around 1.8 to 1.9, we'll spend around 1.3 for all the bonds and debts, but we'll still have enough for repairs.
But this right now is just our major issues at hand.
Correct. So what we did was, we back in 2019, we did a master plan, and that identified a few projects. Some of them already been completed. And earlier this year, I hired a resolution group here to do a second master plan, because last 2 years we got a lot of, things have changed over the last 2-3 years. A lot of other complaints came in, so we looked at the master plan again. And I have Robin here from resolution group. She's a drainage engineer who helped me do a new master plan, and that's where when they identified 7 more projects to come up with this $11 million worth of bond money. So, we went through an extensive scoping. We met with street department. Robin and I drove through the problem areas with all the street department, and identified streets where drainage has been an issue for the last several years. And then Robin went back and did her analysis of watersheds and all that stuff, and came up with this list of projects, and also an approximate cost, which also include enough contingency, because we are already factoring in 25 to 30% contingency on all this cost, because we don't know. Some of these are very preliminary scoping we did, so we have some contingency in there too. So that's how we came up with a list of projects. We have a general scope of the projects. It could be adding new storm sewers, or adding hybrid ditches, or fixing the existing storm sewers. So it's generally scoped out, and Robin might be able to answer any more detailed questions on any of the specific projects than me, because she was working in detail on this.
Okay, just a little question here. I mean, this is our master plan, so the money that we're bonding right now is basically to cover the master plan, correct?
Correct. These projects are the ones that are going to be, that are published as part of the bond, where we'll be spending the bond money on.
Okay, and when will they start? Will they all start together, or?
So it's a master, so we have the scoping report. Once we close on the bond and start getting the bond money, that's where the design starts, the preliminary design, survey design, so.
Engineering, all that?
Yeah, engineering, and then it goes to bidding, and, it's gonna be a 3-4 year process, by the time, then there might be some land acquisition on some of these projects, minimal, so that would have to go through. We don't plan to build, design all the 12 projects just like that. It's going to be phased out. We're going to pick up just look at certain projects might need more time to study. One example is the Tittibo ditch itself. There is a lot of legal things that we have to figure out before we can plan that project. The jurisdiction.
We're going to kind of do them a couple at a time.
Right. So we'll pick some priority areas, and also, but some kind of work will happen on all these projects at times. So.
Okay. I'm just curious if it was all going to happen at once, which
I think usually it's laid out in 3-4 years, just like Indianapolis. That's exactly what they did. They bonded their stormwater, and now they have their money is a lot more, 100+ million. So they're doing it over 10+ years. So both problem.
I was just curious. I was like, you're going to take on all of these at one time?
We're going to start planning. We'll have multiple consultants starting to do a lot of planning on this.
I understand. That's all I have.
Any other project-specific questions? No?
Don't have anything.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we want to go ahead and okay. All right, I guess we're ready for a motion to vote on the resolution 2021-03. I have a
Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to make that motion.
good.
I second the motion.
You second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Next up, board member comments. David or Janet?
I already had mine.
Janet, anything?
No, I've already had similar questions, and they were all answered sufficiently. Thank you.
How about comments of administration?
So we started getting money from Indianapolis. We got the last year's revenue, and we've been catching up on a lot of repairs. We have a contractor that we hired so when we get a list, we send it to him. He goes out and do the repairs, so we are not waiting on street department since we have a revenue source. That's working out good, making people happy, just because we are catching up on compliance after so many
Is
years.
the city doing any of the work themselves?
No, we have a contractor that we hired as an on-call contractor that we go. So he gets a list from me. We visit the site, we scope the project out, and usually these are like holes coming in, inlets breaking apart. So smaller ones. Not all the bigger ones are included in this project. So these are.
Like the hole that's developing in the middle of 65th Street?
I think I saw an email about that today.
I'll have to send you a picture of it.
Yeah, I think it might be a sanitary too. It might be a sanitary sewer too.
I got it on my phone, I'll show it to you.
Yeah.
Does this contractor work on pre-agreed unit prices?
He works on an hourly basis. Basically, we have a set aside rates for each of his, and every repair is different. So he might need a different piece of equipment. He might not need any maintenance of traffic on certain jobs. Sometimes our street department helps with some other stuff. So every thing is different. Every time he gets a repair is different. Sometimes a 16-inch pipe, sometimes it's a 54-inch pipe. But we have set aside labor rates and equipment rates.
As far as these labor rates and equipment rates?
It's a services
those are-
contract, so we have been doing similar things with our asphalt and sidewalks and all that stuff. So we established similar things with this.
Okay, thank you. Any other administration comments? How about citizenry comments? Anyone? That being said, if there are no more comments, we're ready to adjourn the meeting. Do I have a
Chairman, I
motion?
make a motion, we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
Meeting is adjourned.